everything that's happening is actually turning on and turning off like millions of times a second. It's appearing and not appearing. Look at it, if you flip it around, look at it that way. What is here is actually what's remained from potentiality, flickering in and out of existence. So what's happening here is a beautiful symphony of intelligent energy appearing this way here. There's only ever now. There's never anything else but this, except in thought. Thought categorizes and lays it all out as a story. And just a reminder that looking around at everything that's happening, everything is objects around you that is separate from you, the idea of you, the thought, the story of you. If you look at those and just took away, you just blanked, if you just cleared everything that was around you back to natural expression of life. Could be rocks, roads, sand, dirt, wind, water, trees, nature, animals, whatever, all of that. If it was just that, if you're just in a field and there weren't objects, houses, cars, computer, or if that wasn't there, because these are all just parts of the story that human beings have elaborated upon. If you just look at it like that and just think, it's all just happening, isn't it? It's all just life just happening. And then all of these objects that human beings have created, I'm not saying that's wrong, but all of these objects that human beings have created almost reinforce the story. This is the game, this is the play we're in. A play of thought as part of life, expressing. So human beings are expressing, but there's this play of thought that has been made into all these objects that are separate from us, supposedly. And we believe the story completely. Unless you look at it and go, it's kind of beautiful, but is that really what's going on? One thing that can happen if this is explored is suffering. Most people suffer in some way from a reference point of being a me that can't control life well enough, or shouldn't have happened that way, or I wanted this to happen, and there's suffering. It's like a contracted energy, but it's actually not. It's a thought process that then gets expressed as emotions. But it's actually not happening to anyone. If the idea of who is suffering, is explored and can't be found, it kind of is a confusing energy that just loses its juice. So suffering is, as I was talking about animals, if there's an animal going out hunting for food this week, there are days when there's more food, there's days when there's less food, there's days, but there's no actual psychological suffering that human beings impose upon themselves with the story from a reference point of being a separate I that should have done it better, or should have controlled life, or why is it happening this way? It's not fair. The body will probably have instincts that says it's got to stay alive, breathe more. The body will probably do that because it's a very strong instinct. The greatest part of our suffering, our pain, is psychological suffering coming from that story. What's happening here is life in different shades and forms and characteristics, just doing this. It's just life interacting right now, the same life there, all same life. It's not my life and your life, it's the same life expressing there, here, there, wherever. Even there and here, if you closed your eyes and imagined this is a soup of intelligent flux, there is actually no separation in any of it. It's all interacting. The idea of separation, once again, is a thought. The idea of distance is a thought. The idea of time is a thought. It is just what it is. And it's completely, infinitely complex energy expressing. Like it's actually mind-blowing for the human mind to even explore this. So I'm not saying, I don't understand it. I just know that I don't know as this character, as this person, as this individual human being. But this human being is the same life as when you look out the window at a tree. It's life expressing that way, blossoming. It's intelligent. It knows exactly what to do. It just doesn't have the thinking process, the level of brain activity that creates this story about everything that's happening to it as a human being. But that's the same life that's happening here. And it's the same life. It's not a separate life expressing differently. It's the same energetic life doing that there. And I say there, but it's doing that. It's all just happening, and it's all just now, and it's always interacting with itself. This conversation is life interacting with itself. This human being is changing as it's speaking because it's triggering new things, new conditioning, new thought processes, self-learning. There might be interaction, there might be words that affect the way that human being thinks. But it's all the same life, just doing that. Body there, body there, body there. There's all the same life. It's absolutely beautiful. Just have fun. This should just be fun. Even the confusion. You don't have to resolve it. You don't have to understand it. It's just a fun exploration. And something might happen which just opens up a little bit more peace in daily life. Because it's not to be taken seriously. Because as I said, all of the words are just blah, blah. It's just like an animal making noise, a dog barking, a bird chirping. This is what's happening here, just on a different level of human mind, brain, exploring itself. But actually underneath all of that, it's all just happening anyway, as life. It's almost like the more complex the thought of the human brain got, the further away from it we got, because we made more and more layers of story. Whereas an animal is just doing what it's doing. But there's beauty in what a human brain can do, as long as it's liberated from its own story that it creates with that power, with that energy, with that intelligent intellect that dissects and makes stories out of things. So ultimately, I guess it would be lovely to travel through life as life, experiencing all of this, and the intellect is used in harmony with the experience of being a human being as living life. So basically what's happening is, human intellect can be used not instead of or to try and take away the experience of life, but life is happening anyway. But the intellect, which is usually used to feel like it's guiding life and controlling life, is just used in harmony with life, knowing what it is. But never completely understanding it, because it's part of it. It's a subset of it. It's not it. This is complete energetic expression, and the human being is part of that expression. The thought is part of that expression. The not understanding is another way. It's all beautiful, and it's all completely okay. You don't have to change anything or get anything. What's happening here is just a sharing. And the silence is actually more important than all the words. Nothing actually needs to be said. Not talking is actually closer to truth, but if it's not explored, the mind may not be resting in that place, so it explores further. So that's why the words help dissolve the belief in all the stories. And like it's almost seeing the story and being symbiotic with the story as life. The story can still happen. It's beautiful. Being a human being, having this experience, you wouldn't miss it for quids, as they say. Being a human being is amazing. But it's like being a human being is amazing, and is probably more amazing when the identification as the human being a separate entity isn't there, or when it's explored and seen not to be true. Because there's just freedom. There's then there's everything is a game. Everything is a play.